Hi there, EJ Norris here, and welcome to the very first episode of The Word Picture here on YouTube, a show all to do with the joys of reading and fiction writing. If that idea appeals to you, then hit the subscribe, come back for updates every Monday. Why Monday? Because everybody hates Monday, and I want to put an end to that. So I am going to be the joy of your Monday. Now, on to the first topic, which is why is reading important for writing? I guarantee you, any writer that you want to get advice from on how to be a success, chances are they're going to tell you that reading is very, very important to the craft. Why is that? Couldn't you just write? I mean, you could just write, but it wouldn't be all that great. And to further solidify this idea, I'm going to use myself as an example, because you know what? I always loved writing. Ever since I was a little kid, but I got a little secret for you. It was bad writing. I've only run into one or two stories from those days, and you know what? I threw them away. Gag worthy. And that was because I was also a couch potato. My record, I think, was about 6 to 8 hours of TV, and my mom saw this. She was not happy about it, and of course she's much wiser than I am. At one point I was homeschooled for medical reasons, and she took it as an opportunity to jumpstart my enthusiasm for something that would stimulate the intellect rather than rot my brain till it leaked out of my ears. So one day she piled me into the car, took me to the library, and said, "You will pick something, and you will read it." So I picked something and I started reading it. Best thing that ever happened to me. Because I started to think of books in a bit of a better light, because when I was really little, I had a lot of trouble learning to read, so it kind of started me on a bad vibe, but with the reintroduction, I got really into it. It started with the Alfred Hitchcock mysteries. Then on one of our many trips to the library that followed, Mom showed me a book that was on the shelf that was called Redwall by Brian Jacques. And she held it out and she said, "Hey Emily, why don't you get this?" I already had the Alfred Hitchcock mystery book in my hand, and I was like thinking to myself, yeah, I got this now, this one book series. I think I'm fine with that. But she was so excited. She was so enthusiastic. That was something she read as a kid. So I got it and thought, I'll read the Alfred Hitchcock books. I'll get so engrossed in those and then forget that one. But then on the way home, she swung into the gas station and said, "I'm going to get you a special treat that I know is going to be in the first chapter of that book." She got me a blueberry scone. Or was it raspberry? Blueberry, raspberry, blueberry? Raspberry? Raspberry. It was raspberry. She got me a raspberry scone, and that made me feel really guilty. Oh, she got me this treat. She told me all about this book. You know what? I guess I'll read it. I sat in the plush easy chair and started reading it, and the second Clooney the Scourge showed up, I was hooked. And that was the first book series I ever got crazy about, and Brian Jacques was the first author to ever show me the importance of reading to a writer. When I was reading his book, the picture in my head was so clear that it wasn't even funny. So clear that it would make you sick. And I sat in awe. Wow! How did he do that? That's amazing! And I wanted to learn. So whenever I got to the end of a scene that was particularly stirring emotionally, I would start asking myself, now, how did that work? Why was that so emotionally stirring? It was his choice of language. It's one thing to say the storm was bad, the sailors were frightened. Yeah, you get your point across, but does the reader really feel the fear or the terror of the storm or anything like that? Probably not. So what about the storm? Is it sleet, rain, hail, fire, what? Is there a sea monster off the port bow? What's going on? You gotta specify. Give your sailors a reason to be afraid. Now, I wouldn't have learned that if I hadn't read it and looked really closely at how stories and scenes work. Now I'll share with you some tips on how to cultivate your interest in reading if you really, really look upon the idea with distaste. There are ways. I recommend, don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to look around. I know it sounds totally cliche, but go to the library. Walk along the shelf. If you see a binder that looks kind of interesting, go ahead and pick it out. Look at the title. Read the synopsis. If it sounds interesting, take it with you. And what's great about the library is it takes away any commitment kind of feeling. If you don't like it, just return it early. Go pick something else. It's like a buffet for books. Another tip is, if you have a movie or a TV series that came from a book, go look for it. Go look for the book. We all know the saying that the book is better than the movie. And a third tip I'd like to give you, don't pick up a book just because everybody else is reading it. Your taste may not be the same as everybody else's. Take it from me, I am a super picky reader. I'm hard to please. But when I am pleased, boy you know it, because I won't shut up about the book. And just because somebody likes a certain kind of book and you don't, doesn't mean that reading won't work for you. Accept recommendations, but don't feel pressured to like something just because somebody else likes it. So remember, reading is important to writing. You learn technique, you learn to be better. So if you're not into reading, don't be afraid to experiment. Go to the library, look around. If you happen to have a show that you like that happen to be based off of a book, go get that book. Search for your own little niche in the reading world. Happy reading, happy writing, keep a smile on, and see you next Monday. Bye!